Well, debt can be crushing for many tri-staters, but there are steps to take to start paying that off. Amanda Hardy is back after a long dry spell.
Yes.
Welcome back, honey.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
It's good to see you. And what a timely topic to begin the new year, because so many people are just drowning in debt, and it's overwhelming, so you don't know where to start.
Absolutely. You know, we've just gotten through the holidays, credit cards, debt may be piling up, and knowing what to do first. And I'm a big, I love to make lists and write things down, and you do this as well with your debt. You want to make sure that you have a list, that you know exactly what you have that you owe, and even to the point of what the interest rate is, what when it's due, and of course the amount and how long it's going to take you to pay that off. You know, sit down and make a chart, write it all out, and figure out where to start, because it can be overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming.
Well, and it's, you know, it's, you know, you have to kind of go through that psychological shift to say, I've got to face this.
Yes.
I mean, I've got to face this. But I love this little chart here, which, how can they access this, Amanda?
Yes, you can go on the Moneywise website, which is under ca.uky.edu, and type in Moneywise, and this will pop right up.
It's simple, straightforward.
Simple. It's the January newsletter for our Moneywise segment. And one of the biggest things is, and you're seeing the chart now,
there it comes
where
up,
you can just fill that in and put exactly, you know, what you've got. Some people are going to have more debt than others, and that's okay. But the biggest point is don't get overwhelmed with it. You know, figure out what you've got to pay off, and you can either do two options. You can do the avalanche option, where you take, I love the names of these, where you can take that highest rate and pay off, or you can do the snowball, where you take your lowest rate items and pay those off, the smaller amounts.
Dave Ramsey had always recommended that. Just kind of knock them off smaller until you get to the top.
Yes, because a lot of times if you do start with that avalanche where you're paying off the highest, that becomes overwhelming, because you may not have enough money to pay that off all at once. So you're not really seeing a big change.
Well, talk to us about interest rates, though, because that comes into play as well, where your high interest rates are and maybe lower ones.
Absolutely. So you may owe more on something, but if the interest rate's lower, then that might be better to leave that one. If your interest rate's higher and it's a lower amount of money, you might want to go on and pay that off, because you're not going to be charged as much.
You're paying more money for your money.
Absolutely. Right. So you want to, the interest rates do pay a big part of that. You want to make sure that you're not really overwhelming, you know, your debt. And then the other, you know, big thing is just really knowing what you have and not overspending as you're paying off these things. So it's really easy to say, okay, I have a credit card that's way over, I can't pay it off, but then you do pay some on it, and then that next month comes and you keep putting more money on it.
Because there's always an emergency.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's always an emergency. There's a birthday, there's a party, there's a dinner, and we all know, I mean, we all understand that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you gotta live your life, but get out of debt is the way to go.
Yes, absolutely. And knowing what you have, knowing what debt you have, and knowing how much money you're bringing in to be able to pay that off and to continue to live even with paying some of this off. So making really kind of a budget for yourself. Budget how much you're going to spend to pay that off, and budget how much it's going to take till that next paycheck comes around.
Great advice, and you can get this little article, which I recommend with all my heart. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
We'll be back with Ron's weather right after this. Stick around, Fred.